Okay, before we jump into this explainer, I want you to take just a quick second and think about a ghost. Seriously, think about the ghost whose mind you interact with every single day. Because every time you connect to Wi-Fi or glance at your smartphone or literally just flick a light switch, you are engaging with the brilliant, echoing thoughts of a man whose ideas were so incredibly far ahead of his time, people honestly thought he was a magician. The world's most powerful corporate giants saw him as an absolute threat. And today, we're unpacking his true story.
So who really invented the 21st century? We live in a world built by famous titans, right? Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, Alexander Graham Bell. They all built these massive empires worth billions and totally secured their spots in the history books. But the guy who laid the true fundamental architecture for our modern tech, he actually died completely broke and totally alone in a New York City hotel room talking to pigeons. I know, it's a stunning paradox.
Part 1. The Architect of Tomorrow. To really understand how this all happened, we have to look at where it began. Nikola Tesla was born in 1856 in what is now Croatia, right in the middle of this violent, terrifying lightning storm. The story actually goes that the panicked midwife feared the storm was a bad omen, calling him a child of darkness. But his mom pushed right back, claiming he would be a child of light. Talk about a remarkably prophetic moment, right?
Now, the sheer power of Tesla's mind was deeply shaped by a childhood tragedy. When he was 7, his older brother died, and the psychological drive to earn his grieving parents' approval pushed Tesla's intellect into absolute overdrive. He developed a hyperphotographic memory. We're talking visualizing invisible, 3D magnetic force fields in his head. He required zero paper blueprints. He would literally build an engine entirely in his imagination, let it run in his head for weeks just to test for wear and tear, and then build it flawlessly in the real world on the very first try.
Part 2. The War of the Currents. This early brilliance perfectly set the stage for a global revolution. By the 1870s, the world was hungry for energy, but it was stuck.
Cities were relying on these dim, dangerous gas lamps. Early electricity was around, sure, but it relied on direct current, which had severe limitations and could only travel about a mile before completely losing its power. Tesla's solution? Alternating current, or AC. If you think of direct current like water slowing down as it gets pushed through a long, narrow pipe, alternating current is more like a powerful, surging ocean wave that rapidly crashes back and forth dozens of times a second. That momentum allows massive amounts of energy to be maintained and transported over vast distances without losing its punch. It was a total game changer.
And this brings us to one of history's absolute greatest rivalries. In 1884, Tesla arrives in America with exactly 4 cents in his pocket and a letter of recommendation to Thomas Edison. Let me tell you, they were total opposites. Edison was this practical, trial-and-error businessman pushing direct current. Tesla was a theoretical, mathematical genius armed with alternating current. The friction between these two minds, instant and explosive.
This volatile relationship ultimately shattered over one massive promise. Edison offered Tesla a bonus of $50,000, which, by the way, is the equivalent of about $1.5 million today, if Tesla could redesign his inefficient DC generators. So Tesla works insane hours for months, successfully completes the task, and then asks for his payment. Edison just laughs it off. He tells Tesla he didn't understand American humor. Naturally, Tesla resigned on the spot. And to survive a financial slump, this once-in-a-generation mind was literally forced to dig ditches in the streets of Manhattan for $2 a day.
But you can't keep a genius in the dirt for long. George Westinghouse, an industrial titan, saw the sheer brilliance of Tesla's AC power and decided to back him. The ultimate showdown happened at the 1893 Chicago World's Fair. Edison tried to win the lighting contract, but Westinghouse and Tesla underbid him. And when they finally threw the switches, a staggering 100,000 light bulbs illuminated the night sky all at once. It was beautiful, it was safe, and it was entirely powered by AC. Tesla had officially won the War of the Currents.
Part 3. The billion-dollar sacrifice. With that massive victory, Tesla was suddenly on the verge of unimaginable wealth. He and Westinghouse had struck a legendary financial deal that, by all rights, should have made Tesla the wealthiest human being in history.
Under their contract, Tesla was owed $2.50 in royalties for every single horsepower of AC electricity sold. Think about that. As AC rapidly became the global standard, those royalties were stacking up into the millions. He was on a direct, undeniable path to becoming a billionaire.
But Wall Street rivals led by J.P. Morgan were trying to execute a hostile takeover of Westinghouse's company. They threatened to ruin it entirely unless the massive royalty contract with Tesla was canceled. Westinghouse explained this dire situation to Tesla, and in an act of profound, just tragic nobility, Tesla tore the contract into pieces. He literally gave up untold billions of dollars to save his friend's company and ensure his AC technology could continue to serve humanity unhindered. No greed, just progress.
Part 4. Wireless Dreams and Corporate Greed. Walking away from those billions, Tesla returned to his New York laboratory, and right here is where he enters what is arguably the most legendary streak of rapid-fire innovation in all of scientific history. He was about to manipulate invisible forces long before the public even had words for them.
Seriously, just look at this run. In 1895, he's capturing early X-rays. By 1896, he fulfills a childhood dream by harnessing Niagara Falls to generate electricity. In 1898, he unveils a wireless remote-controlled boat to a crowd that was so terrified they legitimately thought it was controlled by magic or like a hidden monkey inside. And in 1899, out in Colorado, he creates massive 135-foot bolts of artificial lightning just to prove energy could be sent right through the Earth itself.
This wild streak led to his most ambitious project ever, Warden Cliff Tower. In 1901, backed initially by J.P. Morgan, Tesla starts building this massive structure on Long Island. But this wasn't just for global communication. Tesla's ultimate dream was to broadcast free electrical power through the atmosphere to literally any home or vessel anywhere on the entire planet.
But of course, this vision clashed directly with corporate reality. When J.P. Morgan realized that this wireless energy would be free, he allegedly asked, "Where do we put the meter?" Realizing this would completely destroy his own monopolies in copper and coal, Morgan instantly cut Tesla's funding and blocked other people from investing. The majestic tower was abandoned and then, tragically, blown up with dynamite in 1917.
Part 5. The Raid and Final Vindication. Fast forward to the roaring 20s and 30s, and you see this really stark contrast. The entire world is literally buzzing, powered by the AC grid and radio concepts that Tesla invented. Yet the architect of this vibrant new world was living quietly, just fading into the background in cheap hotel rooms.
His later years were deeply human and honestly incredibly lonely. Tesla suffered from severe OCD and an intense terror of germs. He developed this deep obsession with the number 3, like he would walk around a block 3 times before entering a building, and demanded exactly 18 napkins at dinner. As he withdrew from human society, he devoted himself to nursing injured city pigeons. He actually had one favorite white pigeon, and when she died, he confessed that he felt the whole purpose leave his life forever.
In January 1943, at the age of 86, Tesla died alone in room 3327 of the Hotel New Yorker. But the story doesn't end there. Within hours of his death, right during the height of World War II, the U.S. government raided his room. They seized all his secret papers and trunks. They were terrified that his theoretical research into a particle beam weapon, the so-called death ray, could fall into enemy hands. So even in death, his mind was considered a matter of strict national security.
Despite that tragic end, the story ultimately builds to his final vindication. Just months after he died, the U.S. Supreme Court officially overturned Guglielmo Marconi's radio patents, proving once and for all that Tesla was the true inventor of the radio. Marconi might have gotten the Nobel Prize, and Edison definitely got the wealth, but Tesla got the science right. And by 1960, the scientific community honored him permanently by naming the unit of magnetic flux density the Tesla.
And hey, if you ever doubt how far this guy could see into the future, just listen to this quote from 1926. He described a world where the Earth would be converted into a huge brain, where we could see and hear each other instantly across any distance using instruments amazingly simple compared to the telephone. A man will be able to carry one in his vest pocket, he said. Think about that. He perfectly predicted the modern smartphone 80 years before it was actually invented.
Nikola Tesla was an entirely unselfish pioneer. He gave humanity the tools to build a brighter future, and he asked for almost nothing in return. His invisible fingerprints are on pretty much every single piece of modern technology we touch today. So I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. If his mind built the nervous system of our modern world, what future are you going to build with it? Take a moment to really think about that, and definitely keep exploring the incredible history behind the things we just take for granted every single day.
Please like and subscribe.